World building. What is it? Well, let's find out. Before we find out fully, here's a quick introduction of myself. So, my name is Monash, and I've been writing for quite a time right now. I'd say 2 years or so. But none of those worlds have come into fruition. One seems to show some promise recently, and that is the book that you're seeing right now. It's called Yume. And in the worlds where I set the story, I kind of understood how I should build the worlds to set the story. And in this video, you're going to grasp my understanding as well as the whole idea of world building. Let's begin. If you asked me what world building was, waking me up at the middle of the night to do so, I'd reply with building worlds. Because that's quite literally it. Now, I do indeed agree that what I spoke about world building was incredibly vague. Now, I want you to actually take a look at these coconut trees. A good look at them. Because now what we're going to talk about is going to be super related. Okay, let's start. Now, there are actually two extremes of world building, and we're going to talk about the extremes and you'll understand the middle ground automatically. Okay? Now, say for example, these coconut trees were planted inside the ocean. Would they grow to be anything at all? Most probably not, because the conditions for them to grow are basically nearby the beach, right? So, what do you get from that? Well, that's a world where logic takes precedence, and this is called a hardcore world build. This is the one where the conditions, rules, everything else are hardwired into nature. And the soft world build is the one where this can just basically be planted underwater and survive anyway. And these are like the two basic things about world building. There is the unrealistic method and the realistic method. There is more to go with it. Let me actually explain now. So now I'm actually going to be talking about one thing called natural selection. This is basically something that you will have to learn if you want to write worlds that are really realistic. And the TLDR of this is the strong survive, and the strong who multiply survive even better. Yeah, that's the whole idea behind it. But if you want a more detailed, felt out video, then I've made one already, so you can check that out. And the strong survive and multiply, what does that mean? The strong doesn't have to be the same in every habitat. How is that possible, you may ask? Well, silly. A camel can survive more in the desert than the lion can. So as a result, it will outcompete the lion in a desert. And that's why the camel's body plan is the one that exists in the desert and not the lion's. And I think you're starting to get the idea. And not every species can maximize for everything, because there is a demand for energy from different tasks that they have to fulfill, and they can only optimize for certain tasks. And sometimes these tasks that are being optimized for, they also hit other tasks and make them fall down. Say for example, a rat. Now the rat can run into sewers and hide from predators, but if it wanted to predate a predator, it cannot predate a predator. You get me? Yeah. So there are advantages to plants, there are certain disadvantages to them, and by adding the advantages and having them there, the disadvantages automatically come into being. And you can actually use this in all of your creations as well. And with a bit of geology knowledge added to your arsenal, your world builds could be ultimate in quality. Yeah, that's about it. I don't want to take your time any further. That was hardcore world building for you. Now let's actually proceed to softcore world building. So I don't use softcore world building very much in my own story, So I can only give you a few tips here. I do use it, but it's in a very low level. Okay, so what is softcore world building? It's building a world with no logic. Why would anybody want to do that? Well, it could be for thematic meanings. You could have yokai in your story if you want to have scary stuff going on around. That mystery, it also causes fear. So there is a sense of mystery in worlds that you cannot understand, but almost can somehow. There is fear in you if the mystery goes too high. So you can use that as well. So that is the appeal of softcore world building, and there is also more to the story as well. Sometimes it can be used to convey thematic meanings, like in Studio Ghibli films with the guy who wore the mask, the soul guy. I've put him on screen right now. There are lots more in terms of using softcore world builds, but you can only actually understand no logic if you try to use no logic for long enough. You will understand the logic behind using no logic properly only if you use it for long enough. Yeah, that's quite literally it for softcore world building as well. And yeah, that's the end of this video. I wouldn't like to take your time any further about softcore world building. The rest is up to you. Watch the video about natural selection. You will get a really good idea about how you can design different environments, how you can make different conditions, and all of those things. And that's it. Goodbye. Boom. Would you like to learn more about world building? Like how religions are formed, how societies are formed, and how different factors affect the tools that a specific set of species will make, how intelligence develops, and all of these cool things? Then put it in the comment section. I might make a series.